This is the Zeus Super Duty charging cable, which claims to be one of the most durable charging cables for your phone. That's because it incorporates a special type of Kevlar that's 5 times stronger than steel. So I can tell you that this is an attractive cable with a clever 90-degree bend at the plug to fit in narrow spaces. And I can also tell you that this is compatible with fast charging and that it's been bend tested past 15,000 times and still performs like it should. But what's really important is to be absolutely thorough with the Zeus cable's reliability. And it just so happens that we at Digital Trends have devised our own series of ridiculous tests to see how much the Zeus Kevlar cable can hold up. We'll start with the small stuff and end with explosives. So just how much of a beating will the Zeus Kevlar charging cable take before it calls it quits? We start our tests with a kettlebell. Most premium charging cables have a tensile strength of 4 pounds or less. The Zeus, however, can clearly handle a 15-pound kettlebell with no problem at all. Many of you probably have animals that love to chew on cables, so in this test, we want to see how well the Zeus Kevlar cable holds up to an Australian Shepherd. His name is Frost for those of you that are interested. Just getting Frost to eat the cable didn't exactly work so well, so we had to devise a special contraption to get him to chew on the cable. Thankfully, this worked better than expected, and the Zeus Kevlar cable handled his abuse with no problems whatsoever. For this next test, we're rigging the Zeus Kevlar cable to tow a car. All the towing weight will go right to the Kevlar cable. There are videos out there showing that the Zeus cable can in fact tow a car, but you have to be very careful with how fast you apply that force. Unfortunately for us, things didn't go as planned. So if you want to tow a car, keep in mind it's probably better to use tow straps as opposed to a charging cord. For the sake of thoroughness, we didn't want to stop the testing here. It's time to find out how the rest of the Zeus Kevlar cable will hold up against high explosives. These are called tannerite exploding targets. They're a combination of ammonium nitrate and aluminum powder. Just one of these 1-pound targets could lay waste to a refrigerator, but we're going to scale this up to 10 pounds because science. To get an idea of its explosive force, we're placing an old MacBook Air directly below the tannerite. To make sure I wouldn't suffer the same fate as our Kevlar cable, I stood back a good 100 yards away. I have no idea how big this explosion is going to be. Everything is laid to waste. The explosion sends a dust cloud 30 feet up in the air. You can even see the shockwave around the explosion. Now it's time to see the damage. The MacBook Air, for all it's worth, is now just a crater in the ground. There are pieces of the MacBook everywhere, so I did my best to collect it up. The only remains I could find of the bucket was the handle. There's absolutely no sign of the Zeus Kevlar cable. I looked quite extensively and I didn't see any trace at all. While scouting around, I picked up pieces of trash so I can at least leave this site a little cleaner than when I arrived. After about a half hour of looking, however, I decided to call it quits. I think it's a safe bet the Zeus cable didn't survive the blast, but I have no doubt this cable is one of the toughest you'll find.